Alrighty, I'll give you a few weekly updates. Everything's looking very, very dry, so I can't burn any more box thorn or anything. Almost all of these thistles, dry as chips on the outside, even though they're green in the middle. All the grass has turned into shit. It's been trying to rain a little bit today, and it's trying again right now actually. The sky's dark. Which is sort of stupid because I set my slow cooker to run thinking, oh yeah, the sun will come out bright because it did yesterday. And no, I was wrong. Yeah. So the slow cooker would have been running pretty much straight off the batteries. What I usually do, I set the slow cooker to sort of run at 9 o'clock to 10:30ish as a start, and basically set it for 3 hours, maybe 3 hours, 15 minutes, and then I'll stop at lunchtime, 1 o'clock, somewhere around there. But during that time, that's when the panels get the most light, because I don't like the idea of just trying to draw off the batteries, because the batteries aren't exactly, well, they're just made in Thailand crappos, real generic junk. So I like to be able to basically burn the excess power that the panels have coming in, regardless, and just, when you have a lot of power coming into your panels, it's the best time to run things because it doesn't have any load in the battery, because it more or less comes straight in the panels through to the inverter, and then bingo. And it's a bit of a make hay while the sun shines concept, and I'm not the only person who takes on that sort of an idea. You know that you've got an appliance that is 110, 120, 140 watts. They're the three different wattages of my slow cookers, and you've got 240 watts of panels, so you've still got a good heap of energy left that's charging the batteries as you're running the slow cooker regardless. But today she would have been coming off the batteries pretty much straight up, I think. But anyway, I have been doing a bit of planting. Oh yes, yeah. I put some, they've actually come up too, you can see them there. It's about time they jump through. I might give them a water in a second. Oh, there's a beauty. It's very easily seen. Let's see this grass here. I basically put some Black Russian tomatoes in my sprouter and sprouted them, and then they're a few years out of date, and I thought, these are stuffed. It's like used by, I don't know, sometime August 2012 or some crap, or February 2013. I thought, oh, there's a bit of out of date. So I sprouted them in the sprouter, plucked out the ones that had decent roots growing on them, and then replanted them in amongst all this. And obviously, as I just showed you there, they're coming up without a problem, which was the whole idea of putting them in a sprouter, to know that they, to get ones that were going to sprout, because I thought they'd be rather infertile, but the reality was that about 90% of them sprouted anyway. And I've also got a couple in there, and that one as well. Oh yeah, oh shit, let's put a couple together there, I didn't see that. I don't know where the ones went to for this one. That's just a bit of grass. Anyway, see where we go. Should be like 8 or 10 plants there. We'll see how they go through to maturity, but that'll give me enough tomatoes anyway, that I've got a handful of tomatoes. I don't want to go crazy like I did the other time and had like 27 plants, and they were cherry tomatoes, and oh, fracking hell, it's just that many. You just get sick of picking them, It took me 2 years to get through them all, because I've had so many in the freezer. And then half the ones that I ended up picking near the end were half rotten because I was getting too lazy on picking them, because it was such a blooming every 3 nights you'd be out there for an hour and a half just picking them, and I just got sick of them. I overdone it, but I think 8 or 10 plants would be good. And the other thing is these are about medium-sized tomatoes, about 2 inches wide or something like that apparently. So yeah, that'll be a bit more easier to handle. The wind's blowing. Show you the little microgreens. It's actually a pretty good idea. It's less bullshit than sprouts of having to water it all the time, and you got to make sure that it's done and moist, and you can't have a hot day, otherwise it'll dry out. And the box has got preferable temperature 18 to 24 degrees, and I think, well, yeah, it's sort of been going up to 35 degrees. So the sprouts aren't as easy as these so-called microgreens are. As you can tell, I still had them inside, and well, it was a bit dark, and they got a little bit tall, which is what happens if things go tall like this. It means they're running up to the light, which usually means they're not getting enough light, which is why they're so long, but I don't care because there's going to be more of them to eat. I'm supposed to wait till the true leaves sprout, but we'll see how we go. It's pretty good. I just sort of top up the water in the morning or in the afternoon, whenever, and it just keeps drawing out of the water in the bottom. It's not something you got to muck around with a little squirter bottle 3 times a day or anything like that. But that's actually a pretty good idea, and I think in future, and I could muck around with sprouts, or you can just have less bullshit, fill it up once a day. If you're a real smart cookie, you could even put a flipping little ball valve, float valve thing on there, but I don't know where I could get one of those. But I do know another stunt that's a plumbing trick that I could try to make basically a giant one of these. But the main thing is just plastic mesh, and that's, and your toilet paper that goes over the top there, single ply tissue paper or toilet paper, no fancy blimmin' aloe vera one or anything like that, just your plain Jane generic stuff, and just draws the water out of the bottom. The roots are actually far longer than you think they are, and you only sort of notice it when you actually get down and, like, when you actually pluck one out, you think, flaming hell, the root is 2.5 inch long root on some of these little things. It's quite surprising, but anyway, that's a bit of food for thought for something I might do in the future. I've got a mass of bloody videos coming up. Honestly, I'm about a week behind at least. I try and only give you like 20 minutes a day or 15 minutes a day, and just not something to bomb you out. I'm not going to go and try and, give you just mountains every day, because you're not going to watch it, and I know that. So as a result, there's some things that I was going to show you a week before you actually get to see them. But anyway, and we get bogged down with some of the current events in the off-grid world that are going on with you-know-who. But anyway, the old, these are going friggin' ripper. They're actually getting quite big all of a sudden. Really quite big. Glad about that. It's and what I was going to say, I may, quite possibly, I have, stuff it, I might as well show you. I've got big sheets of glass up near where those solar panels were that I was just showing a second ago. In the veranda behind all that, there's big sheets of glass, but as well as that, I've actually got some big sheets out here too. Not exactly what they're off, but they're decent sheets of glass, and some of them are framed in. That's just a shitty little shower thing, but some of these are all right, and some of them are literally framed in to steel. And it may not be a stupid idea to get a dehydrator. Well, make a dehydrator is what I meant to say. And basically get some of these plums and use a solar dehydrator to dry them out. and you sort of give them a little bit of a wash and cut them in half and flick the stone out, and then put the two halves in there, and it should dry them up and shrivel them up. And you can bag them up in Ziploc bags. Had a bunch of those. What's his names? You know, like your little moisture absorbers or whatever you want to call them, in your packets. I had a bunch of those and I threw them out recently. But having said that, there's another trick to do it. Those hand warmer things, I've still got a whole ton of them left. And apparently, according to David Sarti, one of the Doomsday Preppers, you can throw those in, you know, rip the packet open to activate it like you do, but rip the packet open and then throw it in a sealed drum or sealed container, and that'll draw the moisture and stuff out as well and give you more longevity for your food. And I do have a bunch of those left. So yeah, but anyway, this is funny. I got this on video the other day. Little black kitty. You chattering again, are you, bud? Hey? You see that birdie? It's a friggin' bird, and she almost done it like a reflex, like she couldn't stop it. I don't know if you guys ever seen cats chattering. There it is, a little turd. It's a blasted willy wagtail, a classic bird for annoying the shit out of you. And it was hanging around in this here, back and forward, round and around. It kept swooping the cat, and the cat's standing under there. And started doing that chattering business. The bird just went over again. I think she almost done it again, but it's like a hey, in the bud. You'll see it on other YouTube videos anyway. Type in cat chattering, and it's like, apparently it's a reflex and they can't stop it, and that's how it seemed with her, like she couldn't help it. And it's where they supposed to be like in anticipation of the kill bite. They just sort of do this funny chattering thing. It looks bizarre, but I've only ever seen it once in real life, and that was on her about a week ago. But anyway, yeah, the other thing I've got to do is I'm going to go get some concrete on Monday for my potholes in the driveway. What I also want to do is get a whole bunch of mesh, I mean decent bloody mesh, and piss off all these chicken wire things. I think I mentioned this in a video once before about the young trees and the almond trees, and some of these are dead horses, some of them are still, I think this is actually two, a bit stunted, but other ones, well, that one disappeared altogether. It's probably blown off. There's a few laying over in the corner, but put a decent sized tree guard on these, so they've actually got a bit of a chance to get going. I mean, all those ones you saw there are all tiny, but then you get up to ones like this that are seriously tall, you know, and this thing, like, holy smoke, the thing is up to my bloody shoulder, you know, and yet it's struggling away with this usually rattling against it, because they come out of the damn ground and then they just start rattling, and all they do is act like a sail with the shade cloth and then bang against the damn tree, and you end up chewing into the bloody sides here. This poor piece here is just about snapped off because of it, and it's actually turning yellow as a result, which is not good. I went round a while ago and rehammered all these in, but it doesn't seem as made a shit of difference. Some of them have come back out. And this one here, old Kangarooski, has just bitten the friggin' top right off. All because the tree guard wasn't big enough. For some reason, some of them they bite the top off, as this one here has been bitten off, and others they don't. And got the odd pine tree. They replants the pine trees, but the ones here, this is a Melaleuca. And look at the size of the friggin' thing. It's up to my chin. This is a Melaleuca. This one here is a she oak, and these are the original ones. But the replants are usually just pine trees like that. I think they're just crappy old radiata pine. Same stuff they use to make houses. But Yeah, some of them are goers, real goers, and they sort of need protection, and the ones that have been bitten off or sort of keep getting mowed off almost level with a blooming mesh like this one, give them a chance to get a bit bigger, so I'll be getting that mesh as well. The same day I'll get the concrete and all that, so it's all drying out, and I think before long I'll be crunching underfoot. Before all long I'll be back to water and all this crap every day. Gee, I get sick of this, but I only intend to do it just for this one more year. So there's no point really investing in water lines. It's one of these things too, the root structure doesn't develop properly if you water them with irrigation for years and years, because what happens is I sort of leave it until it gets really dry and then I start watering them, sort of force the plant to go looking for water, and put down more roots. But when you have, it's a particular thing with irrigated vineyards, they get what they call teardrop shaped roots, and the stalk comes down, goes into the ground, and it's like an upside down teardrop. And the roots are tiny, and they never get any bigger. You know why? Because of irrigation. And if you rip the irrigation out, they will all die because they were sort of brought up with water coming to them every day or whatever. They end up too soft to survive without that irrigation. I don't really want to do this to friggin' trees, because then you got to water them for years to come. But ground gets very dense up here and they all turn to shit. And then right now the driveway here, we've got a few good ones still. This is a terrible spot. There's so many that I had here that just outright died, and that one's dead. I think it was dying anyway. There's a damn serrated tussock. That's a little turd there. That's a real issue in the area. Those things, it's only a baby one, but I've got to keep an eye out because there's another one. These are a magical plant that defies all belief. They're like a virus. All they want to do is just spread themselves around. That's it. The seeds are viable for 70 to 90 years. And the amount of seeds they have per plant is, holy smoke, it's like 1,000 seeds a plant. And all they do is just keep spreading themselves. They are 98% fibre, 2% protein. There's so little energy in this plant that, and there's a couple of lookalikes as well that are not this plant, but they're a similar looking thing, but they've got a different seed, and they're not a problem, and I've got some of them, but I don't care about that. But these ones, because they're so high in fibre and so low in protein, if sheep live solely on these, they die because of lack of energy to get it through their digestion system. That's not a joke, that's how bad it is. But these little bastards tend to come up right at the end of those trees on occasion. But anyway, now the roots are out of the ground, it'll just dry out and die. Anyway, I think that's about it. Some of this would be good to let the sheep into, and that's part of the sort of idea of putting proper tree guards in that are, up sort of reasonably high. Then we can let the sheep in and let them have a bit of a go at some of this. And there's enough room in here that there's it's a bit of extra feed or whatever, or if we ever need to put a injured sheep in here that has to recover or whatever, we've got a spot to keep an eye on him so he doesn't run off and then die down the paddock somewhere. And that's a bit of a idea I've also had for a while for this piece that we so carefully fenced off. I'll probably just put a little gate somewhere in the corner here or whatever, and yeah. But that'll be something that we can do once we get some real proper tree guards in. As you can see, we go back to almost no grass at all. Well, there's still a bit on that side. So. Anyway, I think that's about it for the weekly wrap. Of course, plenty more good videos coming. I'm going to have a video explaining a few things about the channel and about why I film with this potato and all this sort of different bits and pieces, and probably should even clue you in on fact, I'm on Twitter and Tumblr now as well. Not that I really even bloody look at it, but I post to both of those. And if you have a Twitter account, you'll be able to know exactly when my videos go up and stuff of that nature. And I'll clue you all in on all that stuff and a few other bits and pieces in a video that will probably have please watch and get the fuck out. Get out of it, cat. Fuck me. That is one of those snakes you've already seen a video of. Get the fuck out of it, dumbass. What a fucking thing to come across. Your cat just about fucking wiped. Get out of it! Wiped out by a bloody snake. This is the trouble. Cats do like to have a go at these things. It's got the fucking head up and everything. And often it can be the end of Kitty. Puss! Fuck off out of it. So you're staying here because of all the rocks under the fig tree. Get out of it, cat! Be the fucking last thing you'd flaming take on rather. It's a brown snake, and this one is actually brown. Whereas most of them are actually green. You'll spot me in a minute. I bet you can smell me. They do range cream, but more often than not, the ones around here are like an olive green, but he is actually brown. Yes, that is the breed that's the third deadliest in the world. And there he goes. I don't know if you can even see him, you probably can't. I'll go get the good camera and I might follow him. Ah, well, you'll see him in the other video anyway that I've probably already put up. But that would be a different one. I had one under my veranda. A couple of years ago. You stupid fucking cat, get out of it! Puss! Not exactly what you all seen Black Kitty's last moments, but this gives you an idea of what it's like, you know. You gotta keep your eye out for this sort of shit, but the cat's so fucking gung-ho and killing everything that it thinks it wants to take on a snake that could fucking kill about 5 people in one hit. But if you get bitten by that, it's game over, right? And I won't have to worry about paying your registration then. There it is again, still watching us. I'm going to lock you inside and I'll go get the other cat. Cat was so bloody determined not to be flaming taken inside. And here we go. Oh, isn't it glorious? You never focus when you need to. And I can hear the cats back out again. Kitty! When you heard the saying, curiosity killed the cat,